technology is always a solution in the crisis. So technology will be really handy. There are multiple areas in which this technology would be adopted. One area is in the conduction of admission tests. The other area where technology definitely will play a most important role is in the learning space.
For online education to really become mainstream and enroll millions of students rather than hundreds of thousands of students, we need to have online degrees that are accredited by the various agencies.
My message to all the students and the higher education stakeholders is we need to double our efforts in this time in order to sustain and keep our economy afloat.
In India, we have to look at technology and education 4.0 as actually providing education to the uneducated, people who are not getting quality education.
Education 3.0 was nothing but technology driven. This is now going to be a permanent feature and is now going to figure in all the teaching learning activities of times to come.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all in this webinar. And let me introduce our speakers of the day. So our first speaker of the day is Professor Padmakumar Nair. Professor Padmakumar Nair is the Director and Dean of Thapar School of Management, Chandigarh. Sir is an accomplished researcher, teacher, and a scholar in the area of leadership development and sustainability. He is a PhD from University of Twente, Netherlands, and degree in engineering from University of Tokyo, Japan. He has an experience of over 30 years in the industry, having experiences in sectors like oil and gas, education, consulting, and advanced R&D. So welcome aboard, sir. We welcome you all. Then we have Dr. Nikhil Kulshrestha with us. Sir is a professor in HR and Dean Academics at Doon Business School, Dehradun. Sir has pursued his PGDBM in Human Resource Development and Organizational Behavior. He has also done Masters in Sociology and Doctorate in Business Management. He has a rich academic and professional experience of more than 25 years. So Sir is also involving in training the school principals and teachers, also counseling the students on career and other professional aspects. Welcome, sir. We have Dr. Jitendra Mishra with us. Sir, you are the director of Jaipuria School of Business, Ghaziabad. Sir is a PhD in economics. He has an experience of over 20 years in academics and has published over 40 research papers in national and international journals. And his area of research include economic policy, international business, higher education, consumer behavior, materialism, and sustainable development. So welcome, sir. Welcome on the webinar.
Thank you.
Then our last speaker of the day, Dr. Nidhi Mathur. I'm so excited to have you here with us. Dr. Nidhi Mathur is an associate professor in HR at Institute of Management Technology, Center for Distance Learning. Ma'am is a PhD in governance and has done her post-graduation in public administration from Doon University. She is a UGC NET certified and has 15 plus years of academic experience in organizational behavior and public administration. She is actively involved in consultancy and research in management processes. Her interest areas lies in change management, communication, and negotiation. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So here we'll be talking about on the topic changing industry trends and need for an MBA. And as we all are aware, this is a topic in which we should all be deeply involved in, because the way and the rate at which the industry trends are evolving today, it is absolutely important to be updated on the areas where we need to focus on. So let's get started. I would request Padmakumar Nair sir to start the conversation on the topic. Yes, sir. Padma sir, over to you, sir. there might be I guess, connection issue with Professor Nair. So Nidhi ma'am, can we take the can we take the topic on online MBA education? How it is going to evolve, and is it a long-term thing? And if it is, then how are we going to proceed with the placement of the online courses in MBA?
Okay, thank you so much, Himanshi, for having me over here. And yes, you have initiated a very good discussion on online MBAs, because online still in Indian community, we think that the fruits cannot be reaped with online education. Still, people think that online is only for it cannot be used for the for management education or something like that. Now, my take on this is that online nowadays has become so robust and so dynamic. So one of the example is this live webinar. Apart from other things, like we have so many different kind of what you can say technologies, which when we start using, you can actually get the I will not say 100% exactly as what happens in face-to-face interaction, but to say 85% you are able to get from the online education as well, online MBA education as well. So, and definitely due to pandemic, it has become that you cannot go for the physical classes, so you have to come for the online sessions only. And the kind of response that we are getting from the students, so we are having live sessions, we are having some kind of breakout rooms where we form teams and then we initiate discussion. So MBA education is not actually the technical one where you have to go and work on the machinery, right? But it is more of the usage of soft skills. I mean, I will say that for young managers, it is mostly young and middle managers, to that extent CEO at CEO level as well. It is mostly your soft skills that matters, and the same can be replicated, the same can be simulated in the online environment. So I think we have to come out from that mindset that online education is not able to give the same benefits as what the physical classes can give. So and the world has opened. You have all of us are now witnessing that campuses which were 100% having physical classes, now they have to actually train their professors to start taking online classes and start on this. So online trend, as what I see, it is going to stay, and if not completely online, then at least in blended mode it is going to stay for, I think, next decade or so.
Yes, ma'am, that's true. And so people have one more concern over here: how one should prepare for the placements preparation, because generally people do join MBA programs to expand their networks and
Yes.
To get an opportunity to mix up well with other professionals, basically.
Yeah.
So how are they going to? Yes.
So for placements, any which ways, we can have now psychometric tests that are being widely used by the institute for their placement, so they can actually help the student with what sort of job would be the most, where the student is going to get best fitted for what type of job. So we can have such kind of tests, and accordingly we can channelize them, we can direct them towards those companies which is going to optimize the resource. They can actually utilize the capabilities of these students. Apart from it, for placements, like yes, online, definitely, even the companies, they have this psyche that whether the student has learned from the online session, so is he going to give the same the performance is going to be the same or not. So but I think that that mindset is now gradually breaking, and people are open for this type of education. People are taking placements because mostly, like even if you talk about IIMs or IITs now, they have most of them have gone for online the interview sessions have taken place online only, and as a result of this, there is no none of the activity has been stopped because of being online, right? So I don't think so that it is going to be much of issue nowadays.
Yeah, correct. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your views. So coming to Dr. Nikhil, sir, can you put some light on the access to an extensive business network on joining the MBA? As ma'am has already told us that the online MBA is here to stay, basically. So how are we going to compensate this growing the network along with the online procedures of the MBA course?
Thank you, Himanshi. First of all, thank you for inviting me here, and that's a lovely question that you have asked. So I'll try to bring in the perspective of both industry and the academics. I'm a consultant to several companies. I agree with Dr. Mathur when she says that the boundaries are shortened, and through the online mode we can, like while sitting in India, we can have international seminars and lectures from people from Harvard or Oxford or MIT and those places. And that learning, which was very difficult earlier, so all those efforts that colleges used to make in bringing in guest lectures, bringing in people from industry, so those transportation effort, the time involved, the energy involved, that has come to almost zero. And we are sitting in a virtual world today, right?
Okay.
The flip side of this entire thing is that there is definitely a question mark put on the kind of learning and the method of learning which is put if it is not very robust. For example, this year the board examination has a question mark.
Correct.
So people, how did they complete their pre-boards? How did they complete their assessments? How fair and justified were the schools in giving those marks to the colleges? So yesterday we had the ICSE board result. 99.9%, 99.7% was a passing out percentage.
Correct.
So these kind of things definitely put a percentage. So if you divide this online into two broad categories, online learning and online networking. So your question to me was specifically on networking part. Networking definitely has a boost, and in the online mode we can reach people whether they are outside our state or outside our country, and there's a lot which can be done, which is already being done, and there's a lot which can be done and explored to establish network not only amongst industry but also amongst researchers, also amongst the academic fraternity, and that network can actually go much stronger as compared to what it used to happen earlier. But as far as the learning component is concerned, IMT-like institutions which are very strong and robust for many years, I don't think they had a difficulty in moving completely to this CDL thing and making people convinced that this is as good as the offline mode. But the institution, like Dr. Nidhi, you yourself said that teachers are being trained to deliver classes. So institutions, even the big names which had never tried this online thing. So even if you look at the big names in the country, we know what those names are. They always had the companies benchmark that these companies will come on day one for the placement, these companies will come on day zero, and those companies used to prefer those institutes because they were very robust in giving the offline experience. The student would have covered this much of campus life, late evening case studies, late night case studies, management games, activities, fun part, and the student would have come out with this kind of a thing. And if you ask any of these companies not to go to these big colleges and to try, say for example, IGNOU, they will say no, because IGNOU in terms of content, in terms of delivery, nobody can challenge. But no big company would ever take a student from IGNOU if their benchmark is those big colleges, because they would say कि उनको experience ही नहीं है the in-campus experience. They have never lived the campus life. So that struggle is going to go on. The way forward is not very smooth. Learning part needs to be very robust. But yes, if you ignore the learning part, as far as the networking part is concerned, it has a lot of scope. I would say the scope has multiplied as compared to the way it was earlier.
Thank you so much. Sir, so Dr. Jitendra Mishra, I would like to know, will a part-time MBA or 1-year MBA program, executive MBA, gain more popularity in India? Because you have seen the trends. We all of us have seen the trends that students usually go for flagship programs of 2 years MBA rather than going for executive MBA or PGDP MBA. So, sir, what are your views? How is it going to gain the popularity in India, especially in India?
So thank you, Himanshi, for inviting us, and thank you for having such a nice panel to discuss this very timely and pertinent topic. Let me set the context before I come to your question directly. Mm-hmm. If we see online is being talked in a little exaggerated way because of these circumstances. Mm-hmm. When pandemic hit, there was nobody knew how to deal with it. And online came as a big rescuer, and it has given us a way to keep the show going. Online had been there in its own way, and it was picking up with a little slower speed. It has advanced because of pandemic situation. When we talk of management education or any education for that matter, especially the higher education, learning happens by variety of sources and in variety of means. It is not the book or your video or the content that make you learn. Has it been so, we would not have been admiring the great institutions. Institutions would have never grown great. On the contrary, only library and books have been grown great. But we respect education for teachers, those who have contributed. If I ask, what has made your education so special? You will remember your teachers, you will remember your college, you will remember your friends. You will not remember the book. You will not remember the content that you have gone through. So that is one very subtle aspect, and that's a reality. Because we all are human beings, and for learning in a holistic way, we have to deal with humans. Ultimately, purpose of education is what? To make the things happen in a better way, to learn to understand others' thought process, other style, to understand the situation much deeper and try to deal with that. As a manager, you are going to work with your peers. You are not going to work with machine all the time, despite we know that automation and digitalization is going to take a lot of work from humans. But at the same time, human being will be driving the business altogether. Only the robots and the technology is going to facilitate that, make it more efficient, more accurate. So if you see, the education has a requirement of contact, having ecosystem where you have got books, you have got technology, you have got teachers, you have got campus, and peer learning is very, very effective and very important and integral part of the learning. So online has become a very good substitute. It is going to stay. It has its own place. The reality that I could see is blended learning. You are going to have a lot of things moving to online mode where your personal contact or having a great discussion and engagement of many stakeholders is not that much required. But still that human aspects or in-person learning is going to stay and going to strengthen further, because you will have at the level of faculty, once the teaching part moves to online mode, they will have little more time to innovate. The addition of online learning is going to make in-person learning more effective, because the time and efforts that you will save because of shifting to the online, you can put in enriching and enhancing your offline learning as well. So this is one aspect. It is not online versus offline. It is not the question. It is how a healthy mix of the two can make the learning more effective. So that is one part I wanted to emphasize on. Secondly, we need to see the relevance in a context. If we look at Western world, the enrollment has been consistently declining much before the pandemic has hit, because of their aging population and a lot of things, changing industry dynamics. They have been talking the things in a very different way. Many a time we read it and we get fascinated. If you look at India, it's a very different country. It's a fast-growing country. You keep the pandemic part apart. It is a very young country. And here the people who enroll in management education, majority of them are fresh. They come directly from college. There the people come are supporting for many years because of the social fabric and social norms. Here the students come directly from one college to another. So having that grooming part, having the discipline, and having all the teaching and mentoring, coaching is required at a different level. And here the management education has a very bright future. We still have a very low gross enrollment ratio in higher education, just 36%, as compared to 80% in US or 60% in UK or 48% in China. So it shows that there is a need for institutions, there is a need for education. Still, we have a potential. So we need institutions which can offer education. Online will be an alternative to those who cannot afford to study full time. That is a good one. But full time has its own value. Third is the industry is changing at a very different pace and in a very different direction. As we see, the last decades had been the decade of disruption. The workplace, the nature of work itself is all changing. And to adapt to it, one needs to train differently. So the entire education perspective has to match the skill requirement. Management education has been very dynamic in the sense it has always been matching the industry requirement, and that is where it has gained popularity and is being seen as a guarantee to a good career, because it always updates itself, it keeps it matching to the industry requirement. And those institutions which does not do, they suffer. So if you see the respect and popularity of management education, it comes because of the career it guarantees. So the changing industry need is going to influence the management education, and this change is going to happen in two ways. One is the kind of content and curriculum that is there. Lot of curricular innovation is required. How the technology can be blended to software part. How can the software part be redefined? For example, we are interacting in a very digital mode, in an online mode. What part of software skill is required here? It is not the same as we would have been sitting on a round table.
Right.
So the things have changed. So many of the things are required to be innovative. So that is another aspect. Technology is going to be part and parcel of everything that we do. And therefore, many of the things which were not being given emphasis or focus needs to be redefined, revisited. As our young population passing out from college, joining the MBA or management education is big, same is going to be the population coming from working class because of the industry change. Gone are the days when you acquire a degree, maybe an engineering degree, and you can work happily for 45 years with a growing career. It is not going to happen. Even your one management degree may not be sufficient for your second career or second level of growth. So, and thirdly, it is so expensive that it may not be affordable to all. People may not have the opportunity cost of having an education is also very heavy. So, you see that two good things have started emerging. ISB is one good example. The short-term programs, maybe 1-year programs, have started gaining popularity. So that is one thing that we can very clearly see is going to grow. So rather than having everything in 2-year full-time, lot of things are going to be in different package, maybe for 11 month or 12 month and 9 month and kind of. So short-term programs are going to be there. Thirdly, there are going to be more specialized programs. Gone are the days when you can have a general management and you can say, okay, it's all. There are going to be more specialized programs because the need of industry in a specialized and emerging sector is going to be very different. And you need to focus on that. So when I'm talking of curricular innovation, these are going to be the new realities. You are going to have more focused, specialized programs. You are going to have different duration of programs, and you are going to have different set of takers. So the overall management education ecosystem will have a very different dynamics and composition. So short-term program, if you see how is going to be the future, is going to be increasing, but not because the fresher are going to go for short-term program. Short-term programs or 1 year program or continuing education is going to be for those who want the career at the next level, who want a career progression to acquire newer skills. But the full-time programs are going to sustain because of our size of population, the people who are aspiring to go for management education, and more importantly, since they directly come from one institution and one program to other, they don't have great work experience, they are going to have a great place. The emphasis is going to be on quality of teaching learning, because there are going to be a lot of opportunity because of online. If I'm not happy with my class, I can easily register on any course across the globe and have to have a parallel. So teachers are going to be challenged. The students are no more unaware where you can teach them because they have no other alternative. They have all the alternatives available on their fingertip. So the teaching is going to be very, very challenging. One has to make it better than what is available on other platform or in other mode. So those are going to be the changes so far as management education is concerned. If I conclude by saying that it is going to be a blended learning, it is not online versus in person, it is going to be blended. It's going to be short-term program, but the full-time programs are going to exist and going to sustain, grow because of the different composition of population. It is going to be more of a curricular innovation, and teaching and faculty is going to be challenged far more than ever. So these are my initial thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, as you stated that we'll have to add other specialization in MBA itself, because to fit the exact goal of for oneself. So, what do you think? What are the areas where we can expand the specialization in masters, where a person can focus on a particular area? Let's suppose nowadays business analytics, it's going with a good rate basically. So, what are the other areas where we can expand the masters?
You see, as the industry is growing, the management education is directly reflection of talent requirement in the industry. So you see, as the services sector has started growing, we required a lot of managers, and that is what led mushrooming of business schools. So you see, logistics and supply chain, your e-commerce, your digital marketing and digital management as a platform. You are going to not having a software or IT managers, but you are going to have a digital managers now. The role is going to change. So a lot of digital things are coming. So you may require a role of digital manager, and something specialization in digital is going to go. Business analytics, data science, you mentioned that is one part. Within marketing, you are going to have a different kind of marketing. Maybe luxury retail is going to be a new area. You see a lot of programs are coming across. Entrepreneurship is going to acquire a central space, not because everybody is going to become an entrepreneur, but even entrepreneurial managers are going to be equally respected or more respected in organization than a simple manager. So decision making, risk taking, having ownership, driving or self-driven people would be more respected. So entrepreneurship is going to take the central piece. So you have got data analytics, you have got logistics, supply chain, you have got digital management or digital managers role kind of things, and you have got luxury retail and likewise.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for the views. Professor Nair, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, but my the connection is not very good. I'll try one more time.
It is sounding good now, sir. So let me start with the topic.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, sir, we are discussing changing industry trends and need for an MBA. So I would like to focus on how one can re-energize the career after MBA, because if someone is dealing with one industry and he or she wants to change to another industry, so how one can do the re-energized thing with MBA course? Yeah.
Excellent. So I want to talk about three things. Number one is changing careers and changing curriculum. curriculum. So if you look at what the pandemic has taught, is changing expectations. Not only changing expectations from the learner's point of view, also changing expectations from the teacher's point of view, and also from regulator's point of view. Now more at blended learning. So this changing expectations. Am I audible?
Sir, you are audible. Just a break in the network.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was talking about changing expectations. Now, regulators are okay with a blended approach. Learners are okay with the blended approach. Teachers are okay with the blended approach, because we have now, pandemic has forced us. That means now we have, that's no. Number two, changing careers. Professor Mishra has also mentioned that. Look at it. We are experiencing fourth revolution. Industrial Revolution 1, with the steam power, replaced most jobs needing power and speed. Industrial Revolution 2 and 3, that is electricity and automation, replaced most jobs needing precision and repetition. Today, we are experiencing AI-led industrial revolution. This is going to replace most jobs needing abstracting rules from large sets of data. But this is not going to take away all the jobs for MBA graduates. In fact, in 4.0, will a lot of jobs have become cognitively nuanced and ethically challenging. When it is cognitively nuanced and ethically challenging, and you need to work with the small sets of data, we need well-trained MBA graduates. So changing career scenario, changing jobs is actually going to help our graduates. And the third change we would see is four advances in four fundamental disciplines are going to completely revolutionize MBA curriculum: behavioral economics, evolutionary psychology, cognitive science, and artificial intelligence. Behavioral economics, evolutionary psychology, cognitive science, and artificial intelligence. These four disciplines are going to change everything we teach. It may not happen today, it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So changing expectations, changing careers, and changing or advances in these fundamental disciplines. When you look at it that way, so what has become actually important? It's not a cliche statement to say that education is all about retraining our brain to solve a different kind of problem. Why do we say solving different kinds of problems? Look at it from an evolutionary psychology point of view. Our ancestors were solving problems with the three unique characteristics. Problems, those are simple, dangerous, and needing immediate solution. Simple, dangerous, and needing immediate solution. You sight a lion, you fight or run away, or climb a tree. But contemporary problems are complex, not so dangerous, and its solutions can wait. So evolutionary brain is for solving simple, dangerous, and problems needing immediate solution. But our MBA graduates are going to be trained solving contemporary complex problems. If I can use the terminology of planning science, those are the wicked problems. A multitude of definitions, a diversity of stakeholders. We can never talk about a solution. We can only talk about getting into the journey of framing problems in different ways so that you get into the journey of solving. So when you look at new careers and changing careers, with the time. Basically, it is about learning to frame problems and reframe problems and learning to learn continuously. Everything else said in this panel makes sense, absolute sense. Short-term courses, certificates, badges, flexibility, online learning, networking, all those are enablers for this new reality. So to conclude, learning to learn with an open mind and passionately thinking about these new technologies are not going to replace our jobs. In fact, they are going to create more jobs for us. But we need to be ready for it. Thank you.
Correct. So, sir, thank you for bringing this insight, and we are so lucky to have such energetic persona among us. Sir, one more question to you. What are the specialized courses that that are globally accepted? Because nowadays people are doing normal MBAs and then they are pursuing global MBAs as well to look out for the careers in outside India, or you can say abroad, basically. So what are the courses that are globally accepted that are currently working and being held in India?
First of all, if you are young and with the good quantitative skills, nothing like a good MBA in business analytics and big data. There's no question. But if you're experienced, wise, matured student, then it doesn't matter which specialization. A general MBA with a solid problem-solving focus and networking and team building, bit of leadership, but that really depends on if you're in your early 30s with good experience, then a general MBA maybe with some specialization. But then, what are those key aspects for a good general MBA graduate, matured, experienced graduate? I would say global sensitivity. Global sensitivity is not just about cultural sensitivity. It's about culture and history and geography and economics and political systems across the world, and knowledge. True professionalism, a training in making decisions whenever good empirical evidence is available. True professionalism. A social entrepreneurial mindset. What is good for the corporation should be good for the country and the community and the world. These temperaments MBA graduates should develop, our program should instill. Finally, especially for Indians, may not be that much for the West, an excellence seeking or a need for seeking excellence. So what is excellence? Excellence is not about achieving high quality. Excellence is a temperament of doing it better than before. The mother of excellence is actually empathy. When you do anything in your life, you see, for example, Himanshi, you are doing this not just for you, it's part of your job, but you are doing it for others, those young aspirants of MBA. So empathy is the mother of excellence. Whenever you do something, you be empathetic and get into that journey of doing it better than before. A good, matured MBA education should give global sensitivity, true professionalism, social entrepreneurial mindset, and a tendency to seek excellence. Of course, if you are young and quantitatively sound, a good AI, big data, artificial intelligence type of program, you can quickly get a good job. But after 5 years, 10 years, even that person is going to do a different kind of job. So that's what I think.
Thank you so much, sir, for the answer. Ma'am, I would like to question one thing. Which specialization should we choose, for this new normal scenario after COVID, as you are well aware? What are the programs that are going to be booming in coming times? So can you please focus on that?
No, for this question, I would completely agree with what Professor Nair has said, that, it is basically that how good you are at solving the problems how good you are at creating the excellence, and that is only going to value your candidature, or you can say that value what you are going to do abroad or maybe here or whatever. So it's not like that which specialization. I completely believe that wherever your interest lies, so wherever I can be passionate about, so it's only that the whole world is moving towards data analytics, I will also move towards data analytics. That's not the right way of approaching. So if my area is organizational behavior, I would love to excel, because that is what my passion is. So if you will unnecessarily thirst me to get into data analytics, probably I will not be satisfied and I will not be able to come out with the best of my abilities. So I think it depends upon where the person's interest lies. And as I have already mentioned, that nowadays there are so many psychometric tests that are available. So see, at a particular age, you may not be well aware of what your qualities are, where exactly your interest lies, because young graduates, they are bubbling, they have a lot of ideas and they get inspired every now and then. Everyone has to become Zuckerberg, or everyone has to be Satya Nadella, or I mean you because you're so bubbling and you are into that age bracket. So I believe that they can take the help of such kind of tests and then understand where their interest lies. So I would differ on this particular viewpoint, that where I should be going. I should go wherever my interest lies, so that I can, whatever I wish to do, I can do it passionately, right? So that is from my side.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Nikhil, I would like to question one thing, that currently there is a perception in society that, as a degree, MBA has lost its relevance, and numbers are actually falling, and it isn't dynamic now. How can this perception be changed among, aspiring students and parents? So, if you can put some light on this topic.
I'm a little surprised on the question that MBA is losing its relevance. I still feel that all the roads lead to MBA. I've seen, in last few years, I've seen people who have done BDS, the dentistry course, they also complete their MBA from places like BIMTech. They have MBA in insurance and risk, insurance and healthcare and other things. Engineers, most of the engineers, very few of them today are going towards the MTech thing. Most of them are moving towards MBA. So BTech and MBA is a combination that they make. A normal degree, BA, BSc, BCom, if they feel that it's not leading to any good career, it leads to an MBA. So the only reason which might have forced you to ask this question is that maybe because ROI of MBA, which people used to take earlier, that ROI is put under some question, and that's not only because of the changing industry trends. Many things have to be blamed for that. There was a trend a few years back in which people started moving towards a sector-specific MBA, in which they said that let's go to MBA with a specialization of a particular industry, say oil and gas or power management or aviation or a particular thing. I'll completely agree with Nair sir and Mishra ji and Ms. Mathur, in which the basic skill sets are required, and the basic skill set based on what an individual wants to do in life. And like there's a saying in management that if you really want to be happy in your professional life, first try to find out what you enjoy doing the most, and then find out who can pay for it. Right? It is your own skill set, your own passion. So as an individual also, if you feel that you're too talkative, you can convince your parents on anything, possibly if you are doing properly, marketing and sales is a field for you. If you feel you are good at managing people around your family, around your neighbors, in your friend circle, possibly HR, and that leadership is a field for you. So it's in your traits, it's inbuilt in the personality. And if you say that MBA is losing the relevance in the market, all the audiences which are there among the students today, I would say that even today, management qualification is perhaps the only qualification which gives you a holistic view of what you want to do in your career. After 12th, people may not be very clear on what they want to do. After 12th, if they have taken a wrong decision of a graduation, that confusion increases.
Correct.
In graduation, even if they excel academically, they may still not be very clear on what they want to do. But at the post-graduation level, somebody who has done BDAs or BBA or BCom or pharmaceutical or agriculture or anything, people ultimately realize that if we go through the MBA route, that's perhaps the shortest journey which can make me employable. But the only condition applied which is there is that route of 2 years or maybe 1.5 years is something you have to follow that path very, very carefully, imbibing all the skills. Right, so sometimes I tell my students that it's more like playing those video games that the students play. That you take the right step and you get a video coin, you get a gold coin in your own kitty, and if you take a wrong step and you lose your life. So play this very, very carefully. There are ample of people who are in the market as good professors, as good guides. The students should not hesitate in catching hold of them even before taking a decision on which place they have to join.
Right.
So we are in the world of an online thing. You have LinkedIn, you have Facebook, you have Twitter. Whichever place you want to join in, you can always talk to the alumni, but always try and catch hold of the professors of those places and try to find out what is the actual sense of doing an MBA in X specialization or Y specialization. What is this college meant for? And that will give a better clarity to the new generation. But I'll conclude with what I started with. I don't think MBA is losing its relevance, and I don't think it's going to lose the relevance in the next many, many decades to come.
So, Nikhil sir,
Yes, ma'am. I will completely agree with Professor Kulshrestha over here, and you will be surprised to know that around 25% of our students in distance learning are from government sector, and around 10% are from the higher they are class 1 officers as well. And so it is not like that MBA is losing its sheen. It's actually that how you are able, like Professor Kulshrestha has rightly pointed out, that you need to catch hold of the right person who can guide you properly and can direct you towards what you should be doing. So I mean, I will also not support this statement that MBA is losing its sheen.
Yeah, so Nikhil sir, as you stated the point that there is a concern in ROI, so I was actually highlighting that. What are your views, Dr. Jitendra Mishra, on this point that ROI is increasing day by day, and so that is the one reason. That is the one main reason why there is a decline in the intention of doing an MBA. So yes, sir, over to you, sir.
Yes, I would add to the discussion that how the specialization goes. See, emergence of specialization is an outcome of more specialized industries or specialized sectors. So as the businesses grows in a given area, you need more specialized talent to manage that. And therefore the specialization will emerge. But who will go to do that specialization and manage that task has to be a fit. So in e-commerce, logistics and supply chain has started booming because there was a lot of requirement of talent to manage that backend. But it is not everybody's job, because every job requires a kind of a specific characteristics, a specific temperament, the personal attributes. So the job roles are going to be there and more newer as the technology is going to go to next level in Industry 4.0. We are going to have more specialized job and newer job, many jobs that we have not yet imagined. But who will do that? Those who are better fit for that. So that is how specialization has to go. So when you choose a specialization, you have to trade off between your fitment and your aspiration. So there is a career path with a given specialization. If you are riding a high tide, you are going to go high. So if you are getting into an industry which is fast growing, your career will grow fast, but you should fit in that. You need to sustain. If you can't sustain the high tide, you will sink. So you are going to be drowned away. So it's kind of that. So it looks very exciting from outside, but reality is that you need to see that how well you are going to fit. So it's a better, basically the trade-off between your fitment and your aspiration. This has to be traded off, and that's individual, that varies from one to another. That is how they take. When we are talking of ROI, we need to see ISB charges the highest fees and for the shortest duration program. But if you see the applications and their expansion is all going to grow, and there are more takers for that. Same way, you go to any premium business school, they charge 2 to 3 times fees of an average business school. But they don't have any issue, there are takers, and the ROI is not a question there. The problem or the general perception that has built in over last decade or so is because of mushrooming of the business school. Many of the business schools are not business school, and they have tried to create, and they've started engaging the people who are more visible. So that has created a perception that we come across more often than otherwise. So ROI, if you are looking for a quality education, if you are looking for a great professor and great research input and everything to happen, money has to be spent, and money can be spent either by government or by somebody else. So you see, even abroad the fees is very high, and they earn their finances or their revenue from endowment, from foreign students, and they subsidize it for their own student. We don't have endowment in our country to an extent that is there, and most of the average business school or large number of business schools run out of the tuition fee. So they don't have option. If they have to survive, they cannot negotiate on quality. And if they have to offer a quality education, they will have to spend money, and money has to come from some source. So we need to invent, we need to identify newer sources of funding. Maybe government grant or endowment or industry funding. We need to have a funding to make the education affordable for more people, but it's not that it's ROI is increasing or not increasing. It's little misplaced question, and it's more localized. You need to see it into case-to-case basis. We have got all the things going parallelly.
Correct. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we have a question from the audience. Let me put it through. So, does entrepreneurship as a degree hold its value in today's dynamic environment? Sir, Professor Nair, I would like to answer. I would like you to answer this question. If you can put some light, yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. If you look at it, our parents are thinking about we need more entrepreneurs and we need more startups for the country. And of course, we hear great stories about somebody driving to Silicon Valley or going to Seattle, and just like Jeff Bezos started Amazon. And I also bought Amazon stocks several years ago and made some money. See, those are not the norm. So learning to understand how do you organize a small business, how do you pitch for angel funding and VC funding, how do you market some of these startups are called Born Global. So you prepare well for starting your startup. It's not a bad idea. All of us are not going to be Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs. So people with that kind of a temperament, a propensity to take risk and finding excitement in identifying opportunities, a specialization in entrepreneurship is definitely a good idea. But then, and another important point, I was talking with somebody from the Free University of Amsterdam. She was telling, an entrepreneurship MBA may not be just who are going to start startups. It would also be interesting for people who are going to facilitate startups, going to fund startups, going to make policies related to startups. Also, they could also work for a big corporation, and there could be opportunities there to internally fund kind of startups within the organization. So any day, I would encourage somebody with that kind of propensity to take risk and exciting, finding excitement in identifying opportunities to go for an MBA with a specialization in entrepreneurship and innovation.
Thank you so much, sir. We have another one question that, as discussed, that the growth of big data and business analytics is huge. how should we start preparing for such specialized programs during MBA for a smooth transition going into a professional life? So, Dr. Nikhil, if you would like to answer this question.
I think the team collectively has answered this question earlier. The growth is good. Big data analytics are the buzzwords these days. Before you decide that you have to follow the rat race, you have to first of all assess whether you are meant for that or not. Okay, so people who have technical bent of mind, if you have done BTech in past, or if you have good love for subjects like mathematics or 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 RM, then possibly this field is meant for you. Otherwise, if once you enter the field, first trimester of normal B schools is almost common to everybody. There are people who are going to handhold you, who are going to guide you, and like Ms. Nidhi said, that there are a lot of psychometric tests available. They are going to put you through those psychometric tests and tell you that your persona is more suitable for this particular specialization. So I would request the students who have these questions in mind, whether analytics or big data is a good field or not. It's definitely a good field, but hold your horses till the time you get proper guidance and somebody is there to tell you that it is a good field and also meant for you. Okay, because you'll have to map it with what you are, because it's not, you may have taken a decision which does not suit you after 12th or maybe after 10th or after graduation. But this decision that you take now is going to decide your next 40 years of your life. So just because somebody has said it has a good scope in the market, it's going to suit me also, may not.
Sir, we have one last question. How to prepare for such industry dynamics, and how do we find out which role is suitable for us? So, Dr. Jitendra Mishra, if you can answer this question, thank you.
Yes, I think that's a very critical question that most of the people never think. Most of us have never thought of. We always do as the things come. That is good in a philosophical way. But nowadays, there are a lot of professional guidance and counseling available by which they can identify and map you as a person and internally what you are as made up for can be identified very accurately with great accuracy, and that can be decided. So you have got various profilings available. You can do it online. You can go and consult somebody who is trained in that area, and you can identify that what kind of person you are, what are your internal strengths, what will you be able to fitting in when it comes to doing a job where you will have the ease and you will not be taking the burden of the job, but it will go with you as a very natural fit, and you can decide. And I think it's worth going for such kind of profiling and counseling at some point early in your education. Early means when you are going for a specialization or choosing a very specialized program. Before that, if you are aware, I think your journey will be more joyful. Success is one part, but you will be having a very joyful journey. You can make a significance.
Correct. So, sir, a follow-up question on this: that where can we find the counseling team or counseling staff from where we can get the advice on such matters?
So there are institutions specialized in counseling. There are trained psychologists who are trained for that. There are institutions in psychology which offer such kind of counseling. There are online tests available for profiling of the students. Thomas profiling is one very famous used by many of the corporates, and there are many profiles used for professional fitment. So one can identify online or in his or her vicinity in the city that which are such good centers, but go to a qualified person. Go to a person who is well trained and who is qualified, so that it will be really useful. If you go to untrained or somebody who is not actually having that expertise, it will not be useful, and then you will blame the exercise. So don't get into that trap. Go to a right person, choose a right test, and it will surely be helpful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the answer. I would like to thank you all for finding time to attend the session and share some valuable insight. It was not just about the questions and answers, but you all also shared your views on what the aspiring students can do in their career going forward. I would also like to thank all the participants as well for showing keen interest in extremely engaging and insightful session. So to the esteemed speakers, I can't thank you enough for taking this session and guiding the students. It was a pleasure to have you all, and it was such a nice talk, such a nice discussion to have with. So thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Himanshi. Thank you,
Thank you.
professors. It was really a pleasure to have with you all. Thank you.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you.